At dinner before my son's wedding, my daughter-in-law told me, "After tomorrow, I am no longer a member of this family." Those were the exact words my son's fiancée whispered to me the night before their wedding. I stood there frozen in the hallway of the country club, holding a scrapbook I had spent nearly 3 months making by hand. My fingers tightened around the ribbon on the cover while guests laughed and drank champagne only a few feet away. At first, I honestly thought I had misheard her. But then she smiled. Not warmly, not nervously, coldly, like someone finally saying the thing they had wanted to say for years. I should introduce myself. My name is Evelyn Carter. I'm 63 years old, a retired school secretary from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and for 28 years, my entire world revolved around one person, my son, Nathan. His father walked out when Nathan was 7 years old. One morning, my husband kissed us goodbye, got into his pickup truck, and simply never came back. By the end of the week, I learned he had moved to Arizona with another woman nearly 15 years younger than me. People love to say women become stronger after abandonment. That's not true. At least not at first. First, you become exhausted, then terrified, then numb. Strength comes much later. I worked 2 jobs for years. During the day, I handled attendance records and parent calls at Jefferson Middle School. At night, I cleaned offices downtown with a headset radio clipped to my belt and a bottle of industrial cleaner burning my hands raw. I missed vacations. I skipped dentist appointments. I wore the same winter coat for 11 years, but Nathan never knew how bad things really were. Because I made sure of it. When the electricity nearly got shut off, I turned it into a game and called it camping night. When money was tight at Christmas, I stayed awake sewing baseball patches onto thrift store jackets so they looked brand new. Every sacrifice felt worth it whenever Nathan smiled, and he was a good boy, the kind that hugged his mother in public, the kind that worked part-time through college because he didn't want me carrying student loans alone, the kind who once told me, "Mom, one day I'm going to buy you a house with a porch swing." So when he graduated law school and introduced me to Vanessa Brooks, I wanted to be happy for him. And at first, I truly was. Vanessa was beautiful, elegant, polished. She came from one of those families that always seemed camera-ready. Her father owned a real estate development company in Chicago. Her mother wore pearls to brunch. Their Christmas cards looked like luxury resort advertisements. Compared to them, I felt painfully ordinary. But Nathan loved her, and that was enough for me. Or at least I tried to convince myself it was. The first warning sign appeared 6 months after they started dating. Nathan invited me over for dinner at their apartment in downtown Chicago. I brought homemade lasagna because it had always been his favorite. Vanessa opened the door, glanced at the casserole dish, and gave a tight little smile. "Oh," she said lightly, "we're doing low carb now." I laughed awkwardly. Well, Nathan always loved this. Before Nathan could answer, Vanessa took the dish from my hands and set it directly on the kitchen counter without even uncovering it. "It's sweet, though," she added. Sweet, like I was some elderly neighbor bringing over leftovers nobody asked for. Nathan didn't notice. Or maybe he did, and didn't know what to say. That became a pattern. Vanessa never openly insulted me in front of Nathan. She was smarter than that. Instead, she specialized in tiny humiliations, small enough to deny, sharp enough to hurt. At restaurants, she corrected how I pronounced menu items. At family gatherings, she interrupted my stories halfway through. When Nathan talked about pro bono legal work, she'd laugh softly and say, "That's adorable, but eventually we need to think bigger." Bigger, meaning money, status, connections. I tried not to judge her. God knows every generation is different. But deep down, I sensed something cold underneath her charm, like she viewed people less as human beings and more as stepping stones. Still, I stayed quiet. Because mothers learn to stay quiet, especially mothers afraid of losing their sons. The engagement only widened the distance between us. Vanessa controlled every detail of the wedding: the venue, the flowers, the guest list, the seating chart. I wasn't invited to a single planning appointment. Not one. When I offered to help pay for something, she smiled politely and said, "Don't worry, Evelyn. My parents prefer a certain standard." A certain standard. Again, I swallowed the insult. Nathan seemed happy. That mattered more. At least that's what I kept telling myself. A month before the wedding, I started working on the scrapbook. It became my secret project. Every night after dinner, I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by old photographs and faded report cards. Nathan in Little League. Nathan missing his front teeth. Nathan asleep on the couch holding our old golden retriever. I wrote captions beneath every picture. Not fancy captions, just memories. The time he broke his wrist jumping off the garage roof. The night he cried after losing his first debate tournament. The moment he got accepted into Northwestern law. I wanted Vanessa to see the life behind the polished attorney. I wanted her to understand how deeply loved he had always been. The rehearsal dinner took place at an upscale country club outside the city. Crystal chandeliers, white roses, a string quartet near the ballroom entrance. I wore my best navy dress and carried the scrapbook wrapped carefully in silver ribbon. For one brief moment, I actually felt proud, like maybe I had made it. Like maybe all those years of sacrifice had led here. Vanessa met me near the entrance hallway. She looked stunning. Tall, flawless makeup, silk champagne-colored dress. But her expression changed the second nobody else was watching. I held out the scrapbook. "I made this for you and Nathan," I said softly. "Something for the two of you to keep." She barely looked at it. Then she leaned closer. "So we're finally doing this?" she whispered. I blinked. "I'm sorry?" Her smile widened. "After tomorrow, you're not really part of this family anymore." The words hit me so hard I genuinely lost my breath. She continued before I could respond. "You raised him. Congratulations. Your job's finished." I stared at her. "Nathan is my son, and he'll be my husband," she replied calmly, "which means his future is with me now. Honestly, Evelyn, you've been clinging to him for years." "That's not true." "Oh, please." Her voice remained perfectly soft, perfectly controlled. "That scrapbook?" She nodded toward my hands. "It's emotional manipulation. You want him feeling guilty every time he chooses me over you." I felt heat rise into my face. "I would never do that." She tilted her head. "You don't even realize you do it. But after tomorrow, things are changing. We're building our own family now. You don't really fit into the lifestyle we're creating." Lifestyle. As if love were a social club. As if motherhood expired. Then she delivered the final blow. "Honestly, it would probably be best if you didn't come tomorrow." My knees nearly gave out. "You can't mean that." "I absolutely do." She smiled again. "Cold. Controlled. Cruel. You'll only make things emotional. Nathan deserves a clean start." A clean start. Like I was dirt that needed wiping away. I don't remember leaving the country club. I don't remember driving home. I only remember sitting on the edge of my bed later that night with the scrapbook in my lap while tears dripped onto old photographs. For hours, I replayed every sacrifice, every late bill, every sleepless night, every birthday party I somehow managed to afford. And suddenly I felt ridiculous, disposable, like my entire existence had become inconvenient. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. "Nathan." "Hey, Mom," he said cheerfully when I answered. "Everything okay? Vanessa said you left early." I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. "Mom? I'm just tired, sweetheart." There was a pause. "You'll be there tomorrow, though, right?" I closed my eyes. And for the first time in my son's entire life, I lied to him. "I'll try." That night I barely slept. At sunrise, I made coffee and stared at the pale blue dress hanging in my closet. The dress, Nathan once said, made me look elegant. I should have gotten ready. I should have gone. But Vanessa's words kept echoing through my mind. You're not part of this family anymore. By 8:30, texts started flooding in. Family members asking where I was. Nathan checking in. My sister Carol demanding to know why I wasn't answering. At 9:15, Nathan called again. This time his voice sounded nervous. Mom, Vanessa said maybe you weren't feeling well? I stared out my kitchen window. I'm fine. Then where are you? I couldn't do it. I couldn't tell him. Not on his wedding day. So instead I whispered, I'm sorry. Then I hung up. At 10 o'clock, Carol showed up at my house still wearing her emerald bridesmaid dress. She burst through my front door looking horrified. Evelyn, what on earth are you doing? I'm not going. Her jaw dropped. What? I finally told someone. Everything. Vanessa's words. The hallway. The humiliation. Carol listened in stunned silence. Then she sat heavily at my kitchen table. That girl said that to you? I nodded. Carol covered her mouth. Oh my God. I can't sit in that church pretending everything's fine, I whispered. But if you don't go, people will blame you. I laughed bitterly. Haven't people blamed mothers for everything since the beginning of time? At exactly 11 o'clock, church bells rang across town. I sat alone in my living room, my wedding outfit untouched, the scrapbook hidden beneath my bed. And I truly believed that was the moment I lost my son forever. Then noon arrived, and everything exploded. My phone rang so loudly I nearly dropped my coffee mug. Carol. I answered immediately. Carol? Her voice shook. Evelyn, the wedding's off. My heart stopped. What? Nathan canceled it. I stood up too fast. What happened? There was chaos in the background. People shouting, car doors slamming. Then Carol whispered the words that changed everything. Vanessa got exposed. Apparently, 30 minutes before the ceremony, Nathan had been getting dressed in one of the church offices with his groomsmen. Everyone thought he was nervous. Nobody realized his entire life was about to collapse. Nathan's best friend Ryan burst into the room carrying his phone. He looked sick. Nate, he said, you need to see this before you walk down that aisle. On the screen were photographs. Vanessa, kissing another man, holding hands with him outside a luxury hotel in downtown Chicago, entering his condo building late at night. The photos had timestamps, recent timestamps. The other man wasn't a stranger. He was Vanessa's boss, a wealthy real estate investor, nearly 20 years older than her. Nathan reportedly went completely pale. At first, he refused to believe it. Then Ryan showed him the rest. Hotel receipts, messages, even a forwarded email Vanessa accidentally sent to the wrong person discussing Nathan's future earning potential. That phrase alone shattered him. Future earning potential. Not husband. Not partner. Potential. Like he was an investment portfolio. But things got even worse. One of Vanessa's bridesmaids, apparently tipsy from champagne and guilt, confessed that Vanessa's parents had been drowning in debt for years. Millions. Failed developments. Tax investigations. Loans. Lawsuits. The wedding wasn't just a wedding. It was a rescue mission. Nathan was the rescue package. The prenup Vanessa pushed so aggressively wasn't designed to protect him. It was designed to funnel future assets into trusts connected to her family. By the time Nathan stormed into the bridal suite, he was shaking with rage. Vanessa turned around smiling. Baby, what's wrong? Nathan held up the phone. What is this? According to Carol, the room went silent instantly. Vanessa tried denying everything, then minimizing it, then crying, then blaming everyone else. But Nathan kept asking the same question. Did you ever actually love me? Nobody, said she answered. Then something happened that stunned me even more. Nathan looked directly at her and said, You told my mother she wasn't part of this family. Vanessa froze. That's when he knew. Because only guilty people panic when secrets surface. By 11:15, the church was in complete chaos. Guests whispered through the pews. Vanessa's mother screamed at photographers. Her father threatened lawsuits. And Nathan walked to the front of the sanctuary alone. There will be no wedding today, he announced. Gasps filled the room. Somebody dropped a bouquet. Vanessa reportedly chased after him crying. But for the first time since they met, he kept walking. When Carol finished telling me everything, I sat down slowly on my couch. Part of me felt devastated for Nathan. No mother wants her child humiliated. But another part of me felt something I'm not proud to admit. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. Because the nightmare had ended before vows made it permanent. I thought the ordeal would die down after that. I was wrong. Within hours, social media exploded. Videos, speculation, rumors. One post called Vanessa America's runaway bride. Another blamed me. That one spread fastest. According to online gossip, I had manipulated Nathan into canceling the wedding because I was jealous of Vanessa. Jealous. At 63, after sacrificing my entire life for my son, the absurdity would have been funny if it didn't hurt so badly. Vanessa posted a photo of herself still wearing her wedding gown, mascara running dramatically down her cheeks. Caption: "Some women can't let their sons grow up." Thousands of strangers supported her instantly. I wanted to scream. Instead, I cried. Nathan came to my house 2 days later looking exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, tie loosened, shoulders slumped. He sat at my kitchen table in silence for almost 5 minutes before finally speaking. "She told me you were manipulative." I said nothing. "She said you guilted me my whole life." Still nothing. Then he looked at me with tears in his eyes, and I almost believed her. That hurt more than anything. Not because he doubted me, because I realized how carefully Vanessa had isolated him, like emotional erosion. Slow, patient, strategic. Then Nathan handed me a legal envelope. Vanessa's family was threatening civil action, defamation, emotional damages, interference with contractual expectations. I actually laughed when I read that last one. Contractual expectations. Marriage reduced to business language. That told me everything. Fortunately, my friend Diane worked at a law office in Des Moines. She reviewed the documents and immediately frowned. "These people are desperate," she said. She helped us investigate deeper, and what we uncovered shocked even her. Vanessa's father had secretly transferred company debts into shell corporations. Several investors were already preparing lawsuits. Their financial situation was catastrophic. Nathan's rising legal career represented stability, income, status, access. He was never just a fiancé. He was an exit strategy. That realization changed something inside me. For years I stayed polite, quiet, respectful. I swallowed humiliation to keep the peace. But peace without dignity is just surrender. 2 weeks later, Vanessa's family invited Nathan to a private reconciliation dinner at a luxury hotel downtown. Nathan didn't want me involved, but this time I refused to stay silent. I wore the pale blue dress I never got to wear at the wedding, and I walked into that ballroom with my head high. Vanessa's father smiled tightly when he saw me. "Well, this is unexpected. Not nearly as unexpected as your daughter's hotel receipts," I replied. The room went dead quiet. Vanessa glared at me. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "No," I said calmly. "I'm surviving it." Then I placed a folder on the table. Financial records, bankruptcy filings, prenup clauses, debt transfers. Every ugly truth. Nathan read silently while Vanessa's mother started crying. One clause in particular made his face harden. In the event of divorce within 5 years, substantial portions of his future earnings would route into family-controlled trusts. It wasn't marriage. It was financial predation. Vanessa's father immediately threatened legal action. Again. This time, Nathan stood up. "You know what?" he said quietly. "Go ahead." Everyone stared at him. "You wanted my future more than you wanted me." Vanessa suddenly burst into tears. "Nathan, please, I still love you." He looked at her for a very long time. Then he said the sentence that finally broke her composure. "If you loved me, you wouldn't have tried to erase my mother." Silence. Real silence. Not polite silence. The kind that exposes truth. Vanessa looked away, because she knew he was right. That night, Nathan and I left the hotel together. For the first time in years, he reached for my hand the way he used to as a little boy crossing parking lots. Halfway to the car, he stopped. "I'm sorry, Mom." I looked at him. "For what?" for not seeing her sooner. I touched his face gently. Son, smart people get manipulated every day. That's how manipulators survive. A month later, an investigative journalist published an article exposing the Brooks family finances. The story spread quickly. Suddenly, the narrative changed. Vanessa wasn't a victim. She was part of a calculated scheme. Public sympathy evaporated almost overnight. Sponsors distanced themselves from her father's company. More lawsuits surfaced, and eventually, Vanessa disappeared from social media entirely. No dramatic goodbye. No apology, just silence. Nathan slowly rebuilt his life. He joined a legal aid firm instead of chasing corporate money. Funny enough, that decision made him happier than I'd seen him in years. One autumn evening, we sat together on my porch drinking hot tea while leaves blew across the yard. Nathan stared out at the sunset quietly before speaking. You know what scares me most? What? How close I came to losing the only person who actually loved me unconditionally. I swallowed hard. Then I smiled. You never lost me. He looked over. Even at 32, in that moment, I could still see the little boy who used to crawl into my lap after nightmares. I should have protected you, he whispered. No, I said softly. That was never your job. It was always mine. Then he smiled. A real smile. Not forced. Not exhausted. Free. And finally, after everything we survived, I realized something important. Vanessa was wrong. Mothers do not stop being family just because their sons grow up. Love doesn't expire. Sacrifice doesn't disappear. And no woman, no matter how beautiful, wealthy, or manipulative, can erase 28 years of unconditional devotion. Because family isn't built by weddings. It's built by the people who stay. And I stayed. I always will.